You're probably wondering, who was that woman on her organ? Who is she who touches me so, whose chiming pipes aglow the steaming adagio? I am Rose Elizabeth Kowalski Monteperto, the very first person ever to play the organ in a New York City bank. Yes. Others have claimed to be the first, but the first stands before you as documented by a Mr. Walter Winchell in the New York Tribune. For you younger set, let me just say that Walter Winchell was the Susie Knickerbocker of his day, except reporting events in a manly way. The club at La MaMa has asked me to reflect on the three great romantic loves of my life, the subject of much speculation now that I'm back on the circuit. First was the organ, then came men. Herb entered my life on a dreamy evening in the beautiful ornate lobby of the main branch of the Chase Manhattan Bank. I remember, oh, mind you, this was long before tellering machines, when bank lobbies bore an important social function for life in this Gotham. Now, I remember I was playing a bicycle built for two, which I now disdain, but at the time thought peerless, when in walked Herb, hatless, not ashamed of his shiny knocker. This impressed me. There I was, 22, talented, some said beautiful, a high school diploma on the wall, but at 22 an old maid and plenty embarrassed for it. Herb was kind of fat, but not too bad. Yet he had high cheekbones. How naive I was. Oh, I should have known he was a hopeless drunk the moment he came over and tried to make a deposit with me. I said, "Sir, does it look like I am tellering?" After that, he courted me shamelessly, and I was so starved for affection that a pat on the back was pure ecstasy. Utterly. What a fool believes. That's a song by the Doobies. I can play at your sock hops if you like. Let me tell you what I endured. A Protestant wedding in Newark, a honeymoon at the Yonkers Raceway in a cold water flat in Hackensack above Herb's cousin's slaughterhouse. Herb said, oh, as long as he had a good job butchering, he wasn't about to see his wife be some trampy organist in a bank and have all those men fantasize about me. I thought, how sweet, he's jealous. For 2 long years I sat over that slaughterhouse, yearning for my organ, watching the carcasses come in whole, leave chopped. Everything I owned smelled of bloody meat. I would go visit my sister Honey in Queens, and she'd say, Rose, you have got to get out of there. You smell like a pork chop. And I'd say, I know, honey, I know. And I told Honey how Herb would come home drunk and make me fry him a steak, and how I would run to the bathroom and retch in between turning it over, and how I'd practically become a vegetarian, allowing my amino acids to drop to a perilous level. Mental cruelty, Honey said, and I began to wake up and smell the coffee. I didn't love this man anymore. No, I once did, desperately, but I opened my doughy eyes to what he really was. A liar and a drunken bum, making me lacking in protein and creatively dried up. I pleaded to the judge on the grounds of mental cruelty and anemia, and got it. And I was the very first person in New York State ever to plead sexual ungratification and have it legally considered. Yes, my lawyer says it was a landmark case and still studied in important law schools. And Herb, well, my friend Vivian told me that about 10 years ago he married a French woman who got her arm caught in his meat grinder. Yes, took it off up to the shoulder, poor dear. But Herb, I bet Herb was glad, as it would keep Madame in the house. Scoundrel, scoundrel. Well, let me just say that 2 years out of the organist circuit, and one is pretty much a washout. I had to start from scratch. And you wouldn't catch this girl on some bank vault casting couch with a randy vice president like some of the girls in my circuit did. No, I didn't do it then, nor will I now. Those in my circuit who did ended up crackheads in the Bronx. Darlene, Justine, Charlene, the list goes on and on and on and on. Well, after much hurrying and scurrying about, I was able to maintain an engagement at First Manhattan Savings, which was a step down, but I was lucky to get it because during my hiatus, the organ had experienced a decline in popularity among bankers. Some of the tellers said they would rather hear the construction work on the sidewalk. So, to placidate them, I run to Fisher's. No, I hopped a cab to Fisher's, and I buy all the newest sheet music as to be more hip in a changing world. And I remember I come back and I'm playing A Bicycle Built for Two, which I now disdain, but at the time thought peerless, giving it that extra punch to ensure liveliness, when a drop-dead gorgeous man comes over and tips me a $10 bill. Insulted, yet flattered, I say, "Thanks, but no thanks, sir. This is a bank, not a bar." I played the coquette. "You coquette," he said. It was extraordinary. like we were reading minds. And I knew at that moment I was looking at husband number 2, the second, not including the organ, great romantic love of my life. I will call him Bob. Bob was the kind you'd like to get caught dead with. Second-generation Italian, thick, curly, black hair, green eyes, chest like a rug, muscles, and dumb as a coal bucket. He and his father together own 3 pizzerias, 2 in Bensonhurst and 1 below our apartment on Mulberry Street. Oh, I didn't mind the pizza smell. Oh, no. In fact, I relished in it. I ate pizza every night and often got meat as a topping. Oh, yes. Life with Bob was a spree. Midnight cab rides to and fro, dough-slinging parties with his extended family, general laughing and cutting up. All this happiness lasted for, say, 2 weeks. Then I began to get this nervous gnawing that gnawed at my stomach, telling me, Rose, something is not right. Digestion knows. So on a hunch, I asked Bob to take me to the social club he went to every night and often didn't come home from to meet his friends. Never ask your husband to let you meet his friends, or he just might introduce them to you. Everyone at this social club, all men, they gave Bob a hug and a kiss and a pat on the buttocks. Now, I didn't think this odd, as knowing the Mediterranean way is outlandish displays of affection, but when everyone started French kissing, I began to wake up and smell the coffee. Bob had told me before we were married that he had contracted a venereal disease from the toilet seat in Penn Station. It could happen to anyone, and he had to undergo treatment for a full year before we could engage in marital relations. This I believed and waited patiently for. I doubted not our love. We made pizza, we read minds. Oh, yes. Later that night, we cried together in each other's arms, and he told me, he said, Rosie. He always called me Rosie. He said, Rosie, if I could, in my wildest imagination, ever go to bed with any woman, it would probably be you. This remark I hold dear to this day, but alas, the novelty of being married to a homosexual mafia member wore off, and everything I owned hung with the smell of pizza. I went to visit my sister, Honey, in Queens, and she said, Rose, the stench of pizza hangs on you. And I said, I know, honey. I know. So we divorced, and Bob paid me a fair settlement to keep quiet about the whole thing. He said certain members of his business community might not appreciate his lifestyle, and he was afraid of being rubbed out. That's why I've changed Mario's name to Bob. I said, Bob, go with your friend Juan. Go with your friend Juan. Let your love bloom. God loves homosexuals too. Last I'd heard, he and Juan had adopted a 17-year-old boy and were living in Palo Alto, California. Well, wherever you are, Mario, Mexico, Monteperto. Bob, thank you for your honesty.